What about you, Keys? What was it something that when he reached out to you, were you aware of the music he was doing already? Was it just a natural connection?
I think it was definitely a natural connection because we ended up knowing the same people, like mutual people that do music, the same thing we do. So it was just gratifying to know, like, oh yeah, you know this, you know him, and then, at the same time, he's fire too. So I'm like, okay, let's work then.
How does the duo work? Is it like, are you guys sending each other ideas? Do you get in the studio work on it at the same time? Like, what is your process when you guys are working together?
Really, I'm more of the vocal person of the group. Keys is more of the technical side, but we kind of both do the same thing, but we play our roles. So I'm more dealing with the artist, he's more trying to make sure the music gets done, and then it just matches.
Love that, love that. I have this conversation with my friends all the time. We talk about people who are true artists, and we think that we talk about what makes a real artist is how believable they are as well too. And when we listen to your music, I feel like I'm just having a conversation with you. It doesn't feel like, oh, I'm about to rap a song. I feel like, oh, we just had a conversation. Right. Is that intentional? And how did you develop that style?
I can't really say. Yes, it's intentional. To answer your question, I can't really say. I guess maybe the people I was always a fan of growing up, maybe my influences, and just my personality. My personality. If you have a conversation with me, like often I'll go to stores in LA, obviously everywhere, and people will be like, you sound like Dom Kennedy, or something like that. And I'll be like, yeah, you know what I mean? I hear that a lot, But yeah, I could tell that they feel like they hearing like me talk as if it's a version of the song, and they had that kind of realization moment where it syncs up. And it may just be, it's probably a combination of the people that I'm influenced by and my personality, of course. I'm not really big on, you can ask everybody on my team for sure, and everybody that really knows me, like I'm not big on explanations or like trying to argue or talk for a long time. That's not really my thing, It's probably not no clips of me. Maybe coaching baseball, maybe that's the most I talk. But and rapping, because I rap, you know what I mean? So it's like, if you could imagine if you spend so much time focused on something in a meeting, like you want to put it all, if I have something that's, I want to say, I want to find the music to say it. I don't want to just,
So you like to get the music before writing a line down?
Oh, I always have to get the music. Yeah, I always have to get the music. The music starts with the music for me.
What about because I'm even listening to Get Home Safely, the storytelling in there is so powerful where you almost feel like you're just watching what you're saying. Is that the music that's inspiring that story?
The music and the times that during the circumstances around that time period literally led us to being here today at the Grammy Museum, literally. Like you take one thing away, one person, one situation, because we probably wouldn't get into this because we don't know, but Mike often tells the story of, so the album that I put out before Get Home Safely was a very popular album, but they are not on that album. And so that directly fuels this album, because they come with a purpose and with, something on their mind to say, damn, we wasn't even on the last album, and I went around the world, so then they were already setting the tone for me to immediately start Get Home Safely, Yeah.
It's crazy when you think about, even some of the top producers, whether it's like Pharrell, Timberlake, Dre, they all have artists who help to really usher in their sound and introduce their sound to the mass. For you two, how did working with Dom help to introduce your sound to a different audience?
Dom started our sound. It wouldn't be no Futuristics or Wanking Keys without Dom. He was the first person to let us do our thing as a producer, and we spent a lot of time with Dom, so that elevated us in learning how to work with an artist hands-on. I think that changed our career, being able to do that.
Especially since you have to have the music first, how close of a relationship between the three of you do you have making this album? Because it seems like these are personal stories as well.
Oh no, it's real personal. Like we're in the studio every day. We eating the same thing. We having the same arguments. We drinking the same thing. If you smoke, you smoking the same thing that everybody else smoking. It's real. It's real. It's almost like training camp in the worst way. You know what I mean? Because nothing is guaranteed. Like no money's guaranteed. No concerts are guaranteed. No songs are guaranteed to be good. Nobody's guaranteed to like anything when you're making music. When you're attempting to everything is in the air. Everything has to come from a place and has to be created. And it's really up to us right here. You know, everything that happens and takes place, even a couple songs that it's 2 on there they didn't produce, but those are direct reflections of the momentum and what was already going on with the foundation and what we was doing. You know, everything swirls off of that.
You know, one thing I really love on the album, towards the end of the album, you started to shout out just all these LA people. I mean, you know, whether it's Ty Dolla $igns, whether it's YG, whether it's, you know, all these different people, and you see everybody successful as well too, and all these people have high respect as well too. Talk a little bit about just the LA culture in general, how it's reflected in the music, and even the impact that it has had on hip hop in general. Talk a little bit about that.
I mean, LA is it was a lot stronger. The camaraderie was a lot stronger then. I would say that the thing that you have to take in consideration is that I don't want to disrespect anybody like any other place, but I would say that everybody has to look. And no matter how hot you are in Atlanta, wherever, you're going to end up in LA. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how hot you are in Texas, you're going to end up in LA. You don't have to say that. Like, you could be an artist in LA and don't never record nowhere else. But I guarantee you, every other artist, every other place, they record in Los Angeles. Right. When they get a check, they want to buy a house in LA. Right. They want to go to the club, they want to go to see the Lakers, whatever, you know? So, when you're from LA, and I know this for sure, when you're from LA, really from LA, you do have kind of like, at least I did, I had a tremendous amount of confidence. I'm not gonna lie. From zero, you know, you could have had $10 million cash. I'm from LA, I feel like that's up here. You know what I'm saying? Even if we started out to get the same way, I feel that way. You know what I'm saying? I feel that way. So it was always to my advantage to let people know that, you know? To let people know that. It was always to my advantage to let people know that. I was willing to always be a champion for LA because it's what I love, and I was aware of that. You know, I was aware of the I don't even know what you want to call it, the magic that LA has. You know, not if you're really from LA. You know, you have family here, and you know you do a lot of things, and you have stories similar to mine. Right. You know, that's what I mean. Like you have stories that are like maybe they're not spectacular to you, but to somebody else it's like wow. You know. And I was always willing to share those. And I recognized early on that everybody doesn't have the same experiences as me. And most of them come good and bad because I'm from Los Angeles. Right. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Any LA natives here?
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. I know we're going to get into opening up some music and playing some sessions. And I'm gonna come to you guys for some questions in a little bit as well too. But you got to talk a little bit about OPM a little bit. Talk a little bit about how that got started, the meaning behind it. And just break that down for us.
Yeah. Other People's Money Company, OPM Company for short. That was a company created out of necessity by the team. Archie Davis is here. I saw him earlier.
Shout out to Archie.
Mike Risset. They 0 members. I can't even say day 1. But it came about from the West Side with Love, the original one in 2010. And it was just something that apparent that I wasn't gonna be able to satisfy what my heart desire was to be a CEO. And I didn't want to be reduced to just an artist or a guy on a label. So when that became apparent after 2 attempts at, music and mixtapes, I just was like, I'm gonna start we gotta do our own thing, you know? And that was the natural progression of things. And then we certified it in 2010 was the first time it appeared, and we still going strong today.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, we can clap it up for that for sure. Now, the desire to be the CEO, did this make you want to go take, I know you're taking business classes and things like that, or did you have the desire after you took those classes, or did those classes kind of help?
No, I always wanted to be CEO. Like how I said about the French fries, like I'm y'all don't really know me, I know me a little bit, but I'm good at a lot of things, you know. I would like to think, you know what I mean? But I'm just keeping it real, like I could do a lot of things well, you know. I would want to be my ideas are infinite in terms of whatever the product is, whatever it is that I'm involved in, whatever it is, like, you know, whatever we doing, whatever it is, I have ideas that are above and beyond the surface level of that. So for me, even as an 11, 12-year-old, like my goal was to never work for anybody. Like never. I could work with you, but not for you. You know, we could work together, but I can never work for you. You know, so that was just how I was born. So again, when it became apparent that, and I understand why, but in my, you know, youth of making music, it's just like, oh, you just an artist. You got to do it right first. Like I would have to sell 10 million, then I would have got a deal. You know, some people thought or whatever. And it's like, that's cool, but then you do that. That's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could find somebody to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's on me. And I can't be in a position to let my life come up short. If it come up short, it's going to be because of me. And I could deal with that. You understand that? Yeah. Not because somebody else didn't come through for me. I can't tell that story.
Yeah.
I don't like stories like that.
Well, we're gonna open up this session, but I want to ask one thing as well too, because I mean you have some amazing collaborations on this album as well too, and one that connects all three of you guys too is the collab with Nipsey as well too. Can you talk a little bit just about, you know, collaborating with Nip and just the relationship that you guys all had? Because I know that was somebody that all of you guys were close to and had, you know, relationships with. So you could talk a little bit about just that relationship, the impact, the collaboration. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you know, that was a tough loss for everybody, musically, but for us, you know, as we sit here today, like, I mean, it's nothing on this album that came out that he wasn't there when I recorded, you know, or he didn't hear the beat, like, and there's nothing that came out that he made with them at the time. We was all working on all of this together, you know? Like, we were really all working on all of this together. And so in those moments, in those years of, like, you know, struggling with somebody, seeing them, you know, day in, day out, you know, just working on it unselfishly. You know, it was days where I would record and Nip would sit there, and it was days he would record and I would sit there, you know? Same microphone. Crenshaw get home safely, same microphone. I could hear the microphone when I listened to his songs. The same microphone. You know, the room, I could hear the room in the songs. That's how close it was, you know, and just a guy that, man, just have so much respect for, you know, just proud of him for just sticking it through. You know, they made Victory Lap. A lot of it, I was able to be on that, you know, that album. But in these times right here, you know, we would be, like, we don't have to overstate or understate it, but he was a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, not just on the song or any, like, he was really, like, eating lunch with us, driving. Like, we had times, race to the studio, you know, you'll see who car was there first. Type, like, for real, putting in real work. Like, not, it wasn't pretty, you know, on the floor, white t-shirts, house shoes, you know. But with a dream and a vision and a purpose behind it, you know, made it everything with that attitude of, like, this is gonna work. You know, this is gonna work every day. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean with LA Confidence. Like, we were never in doubt about anything that we were doing. I don't think we ever was like, oh, we gonna get up out of here, it's over, or, you know, they finally got us, we done. Like, you know what I'm saying? No, that was never the case. That was never the case. Never the case.
That's powerful. Yeah. Keys and Mike, I know you guys had a relationship with
Yeah. I agree with everything he was saying. Like it's crazy to think like our thing was like we want to make classic records. This was before we even, really got into the music industry. Like our dream was to make classic albums, classic records. The thing is, you got to be careful what you ask for because it's gonna come true. We made a classic with Dom. We made a classic with Nip. It happened, So that's amazing. And now we're kind of like the face of that sound wise from a sound standpoint. Like God answered our prayer, like for real.
Wow. Now we can clap it up for that for sure. Yeah. Mike, you want to touch on any of that before we pull up the sessions?
I'm first.
I mean, we all spent so much time together that it was like, if anybody that's ever been on a team, a sports team, everybody's happy when you're together. When you win, we laughing. When we lose, we sad together. So that was like our music vibe. Like me and Keys didn't even have a car. Dom and Nick would pick us up every single day and take us to the studio. And that's how serious it was. And we wasn't getting to the studio at 7 p.m. We was getting there at 11 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And we were doing that consistently every day. And I feel like when you're making music with somebody, if you don't know them on a personal level, I don't think you're gonna be able to make the music like that. Like Dom genuinely likes us, Nick genuinely liked us, so that's why the music worked.
Man, speaking of the music, we got some sessions we're gonna pull up. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about your creative process, but I know we're gonna get a chance to pull and actually hear some sessions. The interesting thing though, when you talk about developing your sound, it's a little bit more technical, but you talked about how reasons, that the software reasons actually help shape some of your sounds. You guys wasn't using all the fancy VSTs and all that stuff. You just used what you had, and that kind of helped carve your sound. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah.